Big Poppy is in the house. Today I reloaded approximately 300 hollow point 45 ACP bullets, 230 grains, 6.0 with unique powder. And like I've showed you in the past, when I run my rounds, I have a gauge that I use for checking all my rounds to make sure that they'll chamber correctly. And you want to be able to put it in there and have it nice and flush, flip it upside down, and it falls in your hands. That's what you want to see. So I'm going to show you a couple of the things that I do that are a little bit different. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, so for an example, let's say for an example you put a disc in your powder drop here, and let's say for an example that you want 6.0, same thing I just loaded, and they tell you to go ahead and load a particular disc to get that grain of powder. And for an example, in this case, I think it called for like a 4.3, 4.6, can't remember totally. And what I found out is I can never get it with the disc that I had in there. So then what they tell you is to go to the next highest one. Well, when I go to the next highest one, it's too much. It overshoots it, and my max on that 45 is 6.4. So a couple of things I'll show you. So when you get ready, let's say that you set it up and your powder's not right. It's not giving you what you want. Okay, so what you want to do is go ahead and take your rod out here, take your shell, and where the powder drops, take a spent primer round, slide it in there, go up, and now what you're going to do is we're going to turn this off, and off is all the way to the left. So you're going to go and you're going to do this probably about 3 times. And what you're doing is you're taking away from the powder. Alright. What you're doing is getting all that powder that's sitting on the top of your disc to drop down, is you're clearing that out. So for an example, I've already shut it off. And I've already made sure that no powder's coming down. So go ahead and take your 2 little screws off here. Okay. Take the rest of your powder. Pour it in your container. And you'll notice that on the bottom of this, when you turn that on and off, you got an orifice here at the bottom that the powder drops as soon as that disc comes underneath it. So here's what I found that's very useful. So when I'm going back and forth and trying to dial in the disc that I want, is I made a fixture here. Nothing fancy, just got 2 holes on the top. I take this, I stick it through the 2 holes, and I let it rest. That way I don't have to worry about it falling over and powder getting everywhere. Okay? So let's say for an example that I went to the higher disc, which they recommend, because I was at 5.7. And you go ahead and put this back on. Go ahead and put your 2 screws back on. Okay, now here's a little trick that I learned. It was giving me too much, and then the lower number was giving me not enough. So as you can turn this container here on your powder thing, is what I do is I back that off, and what I'm doing is when I back that off, I'm getting a smaller hole for that powder to drop through my disc. And what I use is just red pinstriping tape that they use on cars and stuff. And I'll cut a little piece, and wherever, I'll keep backing this off until exactly when I got 6.0 grains, which I did, I put a mark here. So what I'm able to do now is, instead of being under at 5.7 or being 6.4 over, is all I've done is restricted the amount of powder that's going to drop in through the disc. And where I've got it marked at, I'm hitting 6.0 perfect almost every consistent drop. And you probably already do this as well. What I do is when I'm setting up for powder is I'll just put 1 through 10 here. And what I will do is take and put this in 10 times just like this. Go up on it, come down, make sure it's got powder in it, put it on my scale, pour it out, and verify that. And I'll write down 10 times of doing that, what that, how many grains came out, and then I'll take the average and divide it by 10, and it tells me what I'm really going to be shooting on that. So I need to make adjustments. Either it's good where it's at, or I need to go up, or I need to go down. But that is something that you can try, and it's worked very well for me. Thank you, and good shooting.